Have you ever wondered if some secret being or object is hiding in space? Well, there are, but wait till you hear about some of the most terrifying NASA discoveries that will blow your mind.
The successor to the Hubble telescope, just about ready now to produce images of the universe like we have never seen before.
It's also one of the most complicated pieces of technology ever built.
This image is one of the most iconic of all Hubble images.
There's so much concern that there's something locked up, classified.
Do you know that there are more stars than grains of sand on Earth? Think about your last visit to the beach and how much sand you saw and walked on. Imagine you tried counting every single grain. Sounds impossible, right? According to scientists, there are more stars in the universe than all the grains of sand on every beach on Earth.
A handful of sand contains about 10,000 grains, more than the total number of stars we can see with the naked eye on a clear night. But the number of stars we can see is only the tiniest fraction of the number of stars that are.
This idea first came from Carl Sagan, an American astronomer largely known for his research on the possibility of extraterrestrial life. He suggested that the stars in the universe outnumber sand grains on Earth. Initially, it seemed like a wild guess, but scientific calculations have since supported this comparison, showing that the universe is unimaginably vast, with far more stars than grains of sand on our planet. The result? Mind-blowing. The numbers resulted in billions and billions of stars, with more waiting to be discovered. This confirmed Carl Sagan's theory and also made us realize that the universe is so gigantic, we may never know the true number of stars out there. So, the next time you're at the beach, remember that all the sand you see there is just a tiny speck compared to the endless ocean of stars above. Speaking about sizes, do you also know that the universe is far bigger than we ever imagined? Have you ever looked at the night sky and thought, how big is all of this? Well, maybe you have. It has been a mystery for so long, but it ought not to be anymore because NASA has an answer. The universe is so big that it's almost impossible to wrap your head around it. Did you know there might be 40 billion Earth-like planets in our galaxy? 40 billion places that could possibly support life. And as mind-blowing as that sounds, it's just the beginning. Scientists now estimate that there are over 200 billion galaxies in the universe. That's right, 199 billion more galaxies beyond the Milky Way, each packed with stars, planets, and who knows what else. Think about it this way. If every galaxy were a city, the universe would be an endless map that stretches forever. With that many galaxies, the odds of Earth being the only planet with intelligent life are almost laughably small. Statisticians say the chances are about 1 in 6 sextillion. To put it simply, that's a 6 followed by 21 zeros. Try writing it out, and you'll quickly realize how tiny we are in the grand scheme. The idea of such infinite possibilities can make your brain ache. Still, it also sparks a thrilling question. If the universe is this big, what or who might be out there? Well, there are black holes, and they're completely invisible. Imagine a monster so powerful it could swallow anything. But this monster is even more scary because you wouldn't see it coming. That's a black hole. For years, black holes were thought to be the stuff of science fiction or wild theories. But now we know they are terrifyingly real thanks to NASA's discoveries. But here's the thing. Black holes consume everything in their path, even light, which is why we can't see them with our eyes or telescopes. For a long time, scientists like Stephen Hawking could only guess their existence, but in recent years, researchers have found new ways to prove black holes are out there. One way scientists detect black holes is through gravitational waves. Imagine tossing a rock into a pond and watching the ripples spread out. Gravitational waves are like ripples in the fabric of space caused by massive objects like black holes. Albert Einstein predicted these waves over a century ago, but it wasn't until recently that scientists could observe them. Another way to see a black hole is by studying its event horizon, called the point of no return. This is the edge of the black hole, where anything that gets too close is sucked in forever. Astronomers look for strange activity around this boundary, like stars being shredded or gas swirling in impossibly fast circles. The idea of something so powerful and invisible lurking in space sounds like a nightmare, but knowing they exist makes the universe even more fascinating. A more fascinating yet terrifying discovery made by NASA more recently is the existence of vampire stars. Imagine a star so greedy it feeds on another star until there's nothing left. These cosmic monsters, called vampire stars, live up to their name. They are massive O-type stars, bright and blue, with an appetite for destruction. The vampire star pulls mass from its smaller companion, slowly draining it like a predator feeding its prey. The smaller star grows weaker and weaker, shrinking into almost nothing. But the horror doesn't end there. Once the vampire star has had its fill, it eventually collapses under its weight, exploding into a supernova. Next up is blue sunsets on Mars. Sunsets on Earth are a fiery mix of red, orange, and yellow, but they tell a completely different story on Mars. In 2015, NASA's Curiosity rover captured a stunning photograph of a Martian sunset, and it wasn't red or orange but blue. Why? Dust? The Martian atmosphere is filled with fine particles that scatter light differently than on Earth. On Mars, blue light passes through more easily than the longer wavelengths of red and yellow. The result is an otherworldly twilight, where the sky turns a ghostly shade of blue. It's a haunting reminder that though barren and cold, Mars has strange and beautiful wonders waiting for us to discover. A sunset on another planet is proof that even in the vast emptiness of space, beauty can surprise us in the most unexpected ways. Speaking about surprises, there's a planet in space that would make any jewelry box look useless. It's a planet made of diamonds. This planet is called PSRJ 1719-1438b, and it's made almost entirely of diamonds. That's right, this planet is a gigantic chunk of crystal clear carbon, the same stuff that makes the sparkling diamonds we know on Earth. Scientists always thought a planet like this might exist, and they were right. The conditions outside our solar system were perfect for this planet to form. At first, it was a star, burning bright like our sun. But as it cooled over millions of years, it hardened into a huge, shiny diamond in space. This diamond planet is so big that it's impossible to imagine holding it. If it were closer, it would probably be the most incredible sight in the universe, unlike a sight that's never pleasant nor incredible: extreme temperatures. Here on Earth, we think we know what extreme temperatures feel like, especially in winter or summer. The hottest recorded temperature on Earth is 57 degrees Celsius, while the coldest is -89 degrees Celsius in Antarctica. Still, these are nothing compared to what you'd find in space. Temperatures can swing wildly in the solar system. Mercury, the closest planet to the Sun, is a perfect example. During the day, it heats up to a scorching 449 degrees Celsius. But it is extremely cold at night at a freezing -171 degrees Celsius. That's because Mercury has no atmosphere to trap heat, so it all escapes into space. Even spacecraft experience crazy temperature changes. NASA's Parker Solar Probe, which travels closer to the Sun than any other mission, endures temperature swings of over 1,500 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, satellites like the Solar Dynamics Observatory go from roasting in sunlight to freezing in Earth's shadow during an eclipse. The temperature of its solar panels can drop by 158 degrees Celsius in just minutes. To handle this, the spacecraft are built with heaters and special materials to protect their sensitive instruments. Extreme temperatures are a fact of life in space. Still, thanks to science and engineering, humans and machines can survive in some of the universe's harshest conditions. Another one is cosmic alchemy. Deep inside the Sun, an incredible process is happening every second. About 600 million metric tons of hydrogen are being smashed together to create helium. That's like turning the mass of the 102 Great Pyramids of Giza into something new every second. This amazing reaction is called fusion, the secret behind the Sun's light and heat. Fusion occurs when tiny atoms are forced together under intense pressure and heat, creating new elements in the process. When the universe was born, it was mostly made of hydrogen and helium, with just a sprinkle of a few other light elements. But thanks to fusion inside stars and the explosive power of supernovae, over 80 new elements have been created, including the ones that make life possible. The Sun is a champion at fusion. Along with forming helium, this process releases incredible energy and tiny particles of light called photons. These photons begin a slow journey from the Sun's core, bouncing around for 250,000 years as they fight their way to the surface. Once they break free, they zoom through space, traveling 93 million miles to Earth in just 8 minutes. This light is why our planet has warmth, plants, and life. The next shocking discovery is supersonic shocks, space's invisible energy boosters. Here on Earth, energy is often transferred through simple pushes and pulls. Think of how wind moves tree branches or waves crash into the shore. But in outer space, things get a lot stranger. Energy can jump from one particle to another without them even touching, thanks to something called shocks. Shocks are like invisible waves of energy moving through plasma and magnetic fields. Picture a flock of birds flying together. If a sudden gust of wind pushes them from behind, they'll speed up, even though nothing physically touches them. That's how particles in space get a boost when they run into a magnetic field or plasma wave. Shock waves form when something moves faster than the speed of sound, also called supersonic speed. For example, when a supersonic flow hits a still object, it creates a bow shock, much like the V-shaped ripple at the front of a boat moving through water. A bow shock happens in our solar system. The solar wind, a stream of charged particles from the sun, crashes into Earth's magnetic field, creating a protective bow shock around our planet. These shocks aren't just found near Earth, they're common across space. They surround exploding stars, called supernovae, as they shoot out plasma clouds at incredible speeds. Shocks sometimes appear on Earth when planes or bullets break the sound barrier, creating a loud sonic boom. Supersonic shocks might be invisible, but they play a powerful role in how energy and particles move through space, shaping everything from star explosions to the invisible shield protecting our planet, especially from Venus, our scary neighbor with a dark past. Venus might be Earth's twin in size and shape, but it's definitely not a place you'd want to visit. For starters, Venus spins incredibly slowly and in the opposite direction of Earth. A single day on Venus lasts 243 Earth days, while a year there, because it's so close to the Sun, is only 225 days. That's right, a year on Venus is shorter than a day. At first glance, you might think Venus would be a lot like Earth since it's our closest neighbor and similar in size. But Venus is nothing like a peaceful getaway. Its atmosphere is thick with carbon dioxide, trapping heat so effectively that temperatures on the surface average 464 degrees Celsius. That's hot enough to melt lead. And the rain? It's not water, it's sulfuric acid. The most chilling thing about Venus is its past. Scientists believe it may have once been much like Earth, with oceans, a cooler climate, and conditions that could support life. But something went horribly wrong. Venus experienced a runaway greenhouse effect, where heat got trapped in the atmosphere and temperatures spiraled out of control, boiling away the oceans and turning the planet into the hostile inferno it is today. While Venus is a fascinating planet to study, it also serves as a stark warning. If a world like ours could become a nightmare, it reminds us to take care of our planet before it's too late. A more terrifying fact we do not know is that the Sun is the solar system's giant. How? Not in the way you had thought about it. In our solar system, there's the Sun, and then there's everything else. The Sun is so massive it makes up 99.8% of the total mass of the solar system. That's 1.989 times 10 to the power of 30 kilograms, a number so huge it's almost impossible to comprehend. Everything else, the planets, moons, comets, and asteroids, is just a tiny fraction of the total mass, like a few crumbs compared to a loaf of bread. It's a humbling reminder of how small we are in the grand scale of the universe, orbiting this gigantic star that keeps us alive while making us feel like little more than dust. But some things could soon reduce everything to dust, as discovered by NASA. They are called asteroids, the solar system's flying rocks of doom. Asteroids are giant chunks of rock zooming through the solar system at speeds that boggle the mind. Most of them stick to predictable orbits once we've managed to track them. But here's the catch. There are still millions of these rocky travelers we haven't spotted yet. 66 million years ago, one of these space rocks, known as the Chicxulub asteroid, slammed into Earth. It was about 10 kilometers, 6 miles wide, but the impact was so catastrophic that it wiped out the dinosaurs and reshaped the planet. Today, we're much better at detecting asteroids, using advanced technology to monitor the skies. But here's the unsettling truth. There's nothing stopping another massive asteroid from heading our way. If a big one were to collide with Earth again, it could cause destruction on a scale we can barely imagine, just like Chicxulub did. The scary part? It's not a question of if it will happen, but when. Scientists agree that it's only a matter of time. All we can do is hope we see it coming in time to do something about it. Just as we should be looking out for rogue planets, one of NASA's oldest discoveries. Most planets follow the rules, staying in neat orbits around their stars. But not all of them play by the same rules. Some planets, known as rogue planets, are rebels. They drift through interstellar space with no star to call home. These wandering worlds were likely kicked out of the planetary systems where they were born and thrown into the vast emptiness of space. Now they roam the galaxy on their own, dark and cold, without the light or warmth of a nearby star. What's truly wild is how many of them might be out there. Scientists think there could be billions, or even trillions, of rogue planets zipping through the Milky Way. That means for every star in our galaxy, there could be several of these free-floating worlds lurking in the shadows. And if you thought asteroids were Earth's biggest threat, think again. A rogue planet barreling through space could bring destruction on a scale we've never seen. While the chances of one hitting us are incredibly small, just knowing they're out there, wandering silently in the darkness, is enough to send shivers down your spine. Something similar to these rogue planets is space junks, the dangerous litter orbiting Earth. Orbiting above us at breakneck speeds of 17,500 miles per hour, 10 times faster than a speeding bullet, Earth's orbit is cluttered with space junk. This debris includes old rocket parts, dead satellites, and fragments from collisions. While it may seem harmless floating up there, it's anything but. The Space Surveillance Network is responsible for tracking this orbital trash, and they've already logged around 23,000 pieces larger than a softball. But that's just the big stuff. There are countless smaller fragments that are too tiny to track but still dangerous. The biggest threat is what experts call a chain reaction. If two pieces of space junk collide, they can shatter into thousands of smaller pieces, which could then collide with even more objects, creating a growing cloud of debris. This could make space travel nearly impossible and endanger satellites and astronauts alike. It's a scenario straight out of science fiction but frighteningly real. It was even the central plot of the 2013 movie Gravity, where one collision spiraled into chaos. If you've seen Grant Austin's The Flash or any Marvel's Endgame, you already have an idea of what a multiverse means. But is this idea real? Well, for long, it was just mere speculation and theorizing, but there's a shocking NASA discovery that almost answers questions about the existence of another universe, a super-Earth found in the habitable zone. NASA's Space Telescope has found an intriguing new planet, and it's got scientists buzzing. The planet, called TOI-715b, is a super-Earth, a rocky world about 30 to 70% larger than our own. What makes TOI-715b so fascinating is its location. It's 137 light-years away, which is considered relatively close in the vastness of space. Even more exciting, it orbits inside the habitable zone of its star. The habitable zone is the just right region where temperatures could allow liquid water to exist, a key ingredient for life as we know it. TOI-715b completes an orbit around its star in just 19 days, which might sound scorching. However, the planet's star is a red dwarf, much cooler and smaller than our Sun. This means TOI-715b isn't likely to be a fiery inferno like some other exoplanets that orbit close to their stars. While we don't yet know if this super-Earth has water or an atmosphere, its size, location, and cooler star make it a tantalizing candidate for further study. Could it be a place where life exists, or once existed? TOI-715b is another exciting clue in our search for other worlds like our own. Which of these terrifying discoveries scares you the most? Let us know in the comments below.